Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Show. I'm Sarah, and I am joined by a guest host this week, if you will, Amy O'Connor. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks, Sarah. I'm really excited to be on the show today and co-host.
Amy, longtime listener, second-time caller, if you will. Yeah, we did a segment on United specifically. But for those of you who didn't catch it, Amy is a UEFA B license coach, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, B licensed coach when I left England a long time ago, but also did some certifications over here in the US as well.
And last time we chatted, because we play on the same soccer team, I made you say all of the good things about me as a soccer player, but we won't make you do that today.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm struggling to come up with some other stuff for you. So thank you.
You don't have comments about me in the game yesterday?
I thought you got some solid minutes after a long time out. So we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Shout out to the New York Metro League. I guess anybody in New York who wants to play high quality women's soccer, hit us up, right? Let's use this opportunity. But enough about our football, if you will. We're going to talk about the full weekend of women's football, FA Cup, NWSL. It was a wild weekend that started off with a lot of streaming errors, and those streaming errors really seem to continue throughout the whole weekend. We got to talk about it, Amy. First of all, the FA player was down for the first 10 minutes. Yeah. And then the whole debacle of Paramount Plus, we missed 45 minutes of all of those 7 p.m. games.
Yeah, it was a bit embarrassing, to be honest. I'm more embarrassed for Paramount Plus than I am for the FA player, because the FA player is a free streaming service that we don't pay for here in the States or anywhere. Yeah. So, and Paramount Plus, I'm paying a subscription for that monthly to turn on and wait 40 plus minutes for a game to start. So, and we look at the two, we compare them, right? So the FA player was not available in the UK because it was being streamed on a terrestrial television site in England, the BBC. So that was big for women's soccer. But over here, it wasn't being streamed on a big site, if we will, like an ESPN or a CBS.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a choice, right? It was the FA player,
which is a problem in and of itself. It's definitely more embarrassing for Paramount Plus because we pay for it and they just absolutely dropped the ball. But it's pretty embarrassing that nobody picked up the rights to the FA Cup semifinals here in the US.
That is embarrassing. Yeah, I mean, me and you were panicking at the beginning of the day. We were like, it's not showing as being streamed anywhere in the US, and it didn't show on the FA player as being available here either. So we were kind of scrambling a little bit, and then it popped up eventually. So I do think that this should be picked up by a big network. We're in the semi-final stage. I mean, if you don't want to pick up the early stages, understandable, but we're in the semi-finals now, and this is a big deal. So yes, embarrassing. And where are we going with this if we're not trying to grow it? Truly.
And I mean, with Paramount Plus, I feel like everybody's blaming the league. I do truly think that blame is misplaced. This is a Paramount Plus. This is CBS's problem, and it's the league's problem for entering into a contract with CBS that's clearly not prioritizing this enough that they'll throw everything on Paramount Plus. They'll put it on CBS Sports Network that nobody gets. So that piece I attribute to the league, but this specifically, I think that blame's a little misplaced. This is completely Paramount Plus's problem. All right. So no, I mean, aside from the streaming quality, we had a weekend of insane games, just absolutely insane games. So let's kick it off with the FA Cup semifinals, and we're going to start with the second game because that's the game that's fresh in my mind. And we were texting a lot about it. We're going to start with Aston Villa versus Chelsea. Chelsea took it 1-0. Honestly, my main comment on this, I have a lot more to say, but mainly Villa were the better team. And even Carla Ward said it after the game. And I think that really says it all. Chelsea were able to pull it out, but Villa were the better side.
100%. I think Villa were outstanding, dominated possession on a Chelsea team that is world class. Villa have got some game changers. We know that, Daly, Nobbs, Hansen, we can even say Alicia Lehmann. I thought that the difference was that Chelsea had one opportunity and they took it, and Villa in the final third, they didn't have a lot of clear-cut opportunities, I would say. Lehmann had one really good chance, but if that falls to Daly, we might be a different story. Daly didn't have a lot of chances. They nullified her. They did, but it was a really good game. I enjoyed it, and I found myself willing Villa, and I know you did too. It was kind of like a little bit of a heart racer. We were on edge at the end, especially. They were pushing, and they looked like they'd run out of ideas, like we were saying in the last 4 minutes of added on time.
I think
But
that's the right thing to say. Like, they really ran out of ideas. I found myself turning against Emma Hayes, which I really never thought would happen.
Yeah,
But yeah,
you love Emma Hayes.
I'll die for Emma Hayes. And hey, I love Sam Kerr. But I mean, let's talk about Chelsea for a second, because like, they are world class. And you're right that the difference with Sam Kerr in that she had one opportunity that entire game and she was able to put it away. And Chelsea are world class, but they're playing like it. And this isn't the first game that we've seen them just look tired. And I know people don't like when Emma Hayes is like, oh, we're tired, we're playing a lot of games. They are, and they look tired, and they're playing like it.
Yeah, I think it's down to the fact that they have squad depth. I mean, we look at it, their two first choice centre backs are out.
Yeah.
Right. Brighton, Buchanan were not available. And to be able to defend and keep a clean sheet for 90 plus minutes against a Villa team that has proven goal scorers without your first two, choice centre backs is outstanding. I think that they've got a lot of depth all over the place. You could probably take 11 players out and put 11 players in for Chelsea, and they'd still do the same job. And you couldn't say that about Aston Villa, could you? Like, they have a first choice 11 and that's it. And that's, their bench depth isn't great, but that's the difference between the two teams and the investment and where they are right now.
I mean, specifically Jess Carter, you text me about Jess Carter, and I feel like we've said this so much on the pod for the past 2 years. She is so underrated. She's so consistent. And talk about nullifying Daly and nullifying the wings, Dolly, Lehman, Nobbs, Hansen. I mean, Nobbs really was nullified all across the board, frankly.
Yeah.
But Carter was a main reason Chelsea was able to take the win.
Definitely. And I think Jess Carter, when she came off the pitch, you could see her at the end of the game. She wasn't happy. Yeah. And I think she was like mouthing something about how the performance wasn't where it should be. And they know there's a certain standard at Chelsea. I mean, if you watch all the documentaries, you understand that a little bit more in the culture that Emma Hayes is trying to bring. And she buys into it. And you can see that even performances for England, I thought that for the two friendlies, she was great. And I think she's come a long way. And in terms of eking out a result, you got a striker of Sam Kerr's quality, and she makes that movement in between the two defenders, and just gets that the ability to get that header on target, keep it with power and precision whilst moving backwards is tough. So
it's classic Sam Kerr. I texted it to you. Her ability to separate and find the space in between those two center backs is unlike anybody I've ever seen. It was a classic Sam Kerr goal. I don't want to take anything away from Villa, because I want to talk about how incredible they played and just like outstanding performances all across the board. Like, Hannah Hampton came up huge. She could do nothing about that goal. Daly, Staniforth, Hansen, like, they all had incredible games. Specifically Staniforth, I think, did what she had to do to control the middle of that field. But could we say, I mean, we need to look at the results, and Chelsea won 3-0 against Villa two weeks ago, less than maybe, in the league itself. Did that play to Villa's advantage that they just faced Chelsea, and that's why they were able to pull out the performance that they did, possibly one of their best performances of the entire season?
I think that it's probably a couple of things, right? They faced Chelsea last week, and there may have been like a lot of expectation on them to do better than they did. It was 3-0 comfortable for Chelsea, right? And going into it with Chelsea in the Champions League, there was like a lot of talk, they'll be tired because they played the extra time and Villa could have the opportunity to turn them over. It wasn't the case. And then it's an FA Cup semi-final. In England, you don't need any more, fuel than that. That's
anything goes.
Yeah, it's an FA Cup semi-final, and you're going to give absolutely everything you can to make it into the final. You're going to leave it all on the pitch. And I think Carla Ward got her tactics absolutely spot on. There was nothing that she could have done or changed to make that better. They just, if they'd taken one of their opportunities, they hit the post right at one point, and me and you were just like, oh my gosh, if that was the opportunity. It just wasn't their day.
And that was like the 89th minute too, and the moment that didn't go in, it was over. So what did Carla Ward do? Like, what are the tactics that she used that she didn't use 2 weeks ago that actually broke down Chelsea?
I think she smothered the midfield. You talked about Staniforth, we talked about Nobbs and them getting amongst it, and I don't think Lauren James did a lot. either. I think that they nullified Lauren James. Maybe she had a
Mhm.
little off day as well. She wasn't on top of her game, but Lauren James at her peak is scary.
Yeah.
I don't think she was at her peak. Guru Wrighton wasn't at her peak either, and she causes a lot of problems
Yeah.
when she has the ball and she can deliver great balls. So I think that Villa played well as a unit, and that was important. If there was one thing that Carla will probably look back on and say, it's like, yeah, we wish we could have got Rachel a couple more chances. But I think she came out and said it. She was super proud of the team and
Yeah.
absolutely devastated that they lost, because they did deserve to win that game. And
Yeah.
good teams find a way.
Do you fancy United or Chelsea in the final before we get onto the semifinal? Let's just do this. United or Chelsea? And keep in mind, everybody, Amy is a lifelong diehard Manchester United fan.
Okay, I'll try to be not biased, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to say Man United, and here's the reason.
Okay, tell me.
And I know Chelsea are overwhelming favourites. I know they are, and so rightly so, because they've been there, they've done it.
Yeah,
they won this cup.
Yeah,
Man United has not.
This is Man United's first final, period. Let alone winning a final. This is their first final.
Yes, it is. And Man United has traditionally been terrible against Chelsea. Has not got very many results against them, if any.
Bit of a mental hurdle, if you will.
Yes, very mental with them. And I think that we played them twice this season in the league.
Yep.
They've beaten us twice. And it's very hard to beat a team 3 times in a row.
See, I don't buy into that. I hate that. I used to have coaches that used to be like, now, like, this is important because we've beaten them twice and it's really hard to beat a team a third time. And I'd be like, why are you saying that? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's the same team that we played the first time, same team we played the second time. You saying that is the only thing that makes it harder, is that now you're putting it in my head that it's hard to win. So I actually think United's going to win, but I don't think it's because of that. I mean, they're not in Champions League. And I think that they're going to come with the fire to win this cup that Chelsea are lacking, because they've won so many. And we saw Chelsea pull it out with the Conti Cup, but to pull it out another time while they have Champions League going, I just frankly, like we were just saying, there's only so many times they can pull this out. And I think it'll fall off in that final. But we've digressed, because what we really want to talk about is this Manchester United versus Brighton game. And this Mike, our editor, as everybody knows, is a big Brighton fan. And I just want to say, Mike, this is going to be safe for you to listen to. As much as your heart may be broken right now, I want to spend a moment talking about how insane Brighton were this game. Because if they play like this, they're not being relegated. No. Who was this team? This wasn't Brighton of the 2022-2023 season.
No, it wasn't. And Brighton were outstanding, and full credit to them, because I think that they had a plan. And they played on the counter-attack really well. They exploited Manchester United's mistakes well. They were tight, solid defensively. Williams in goal had an outstanding game. So many top draw saves from her. So that at times kept them in the game. But full credit to Brighton. I thought they were a threat on the counter-attack with Robinson. So dynamic down that side, making Blundell look slow, and Blundell's not slow. I don't think Blundell had a good game, to be honest, but I think that's because of Robinson.
I think it's because Robinson. You know what? I do think United did a good job nullifying Robinson more in the second half.
Yes.
She was all over the field in the first half, and United did a much better job locking her down. I mean, speaking of goalkeepers, of Williams, Brighton's first goal came on technically an own goal off of Mary Earps. You're a former keeper, Amy. What do you make of that?
Yes.
Is that on Mary Earps, or is that on Millie Turner?
No, I think Mary Earps has to take some of the blame for it. I'm not gonna hammer Mary Earps, because Earps has had an unbelievable year. And
kept them in this game for the most part too, with some outstanding saves. I mean, there were outstanding saves on both ends here.
Yeah, and she'll hold her hands up and say that was an error from her, I'm sure. But I also looking at Batley on that side, on the right side, she let Sari come in so much into the area. Why? You have to stop the penetration earlier before she's allowed to come into the box, cut inside, and then have the shot. Ertz will be disappointed. The wrist wasn't strong. She didn't push it away or punch it away. It just went into the goal because of that. But you see, Mary Epps has got a strong mentality, right? Some keepers will fold after that and it'll be over. We saw her in the finalissima against Brazil, made a mistake, came back, saved crucial penalty, right, for England. And she did that too. She did that too on the weekend. She could have just been like, oh, whatever, I've made a mistake and let it affect her, but she didn't. And she pulled out a top class save as well to deny Brighton where it was going into top corner. And fantastic save. So that I love about Mary Epps is that she has a mentality. She has main character energy, as we say,
as the kids say. Before we go back to Brighton, like I want to stay on this because it's not just the first goal, Brighton's first goal that I want to talk about. I think like United as a whole, you let in a lot of goals. And if I'm pointing to a weak spot, it is the center back pairing in United that any team is going to exploit. And United just have to score more goals than they let in. That's not necessarily a place you want to be in when you're trying to win the league.
Yeah, I like Laetitia. I think Laetitia is a good player. I think she's young and she's got a lot to learn, obviously, but I think that she's got it. And I think that she will progress and be the starting centre-back for Man United. I worry about Millie Turner, and we've mentioned this before, just because of her lack of pace. It seemed like she had the step on Carter for the goal, and she
just
made
gave
up the ground.
Space.
Yeah, but but
just chose to give space. Like it wasn't a foot race. It was choosing not to step to the ball is really what it was.
Well, so the ball went over the top, and Millie Turner is recovering, and Carter's in behind her and her back, and it's putting her under pressure. And Turner is facing up, so the decision for Turner was to play the ball back to Ertz, and she completely did not put any pace on the ball, and it kind of bounced off her shin, and then she tried to play the pass.
Yeah.
And so the first touch was poor, and then the second touch to play it back had no pace on it. So
my
that
thing
allowed
is
Carter to nip in.
Don't take the touch. If you're going to take a touch, clear that ball out of bounds. I don't care if it goes for a corner or whatever. Smash that ball into the second level.
Smash it out. And even if you're playing it back to Ertz, you're asking a lot. You're going to put her under pressure because the striker's coming in at pace. Carter was coming in at pace. She wanted the ball. So it was two defensive errors from Man United that cost them the goals, taking nothing away from Brighton. Obviously, they were working super hard to put them under pressure, and they were doing all the things right, and they deserved the two goals. They did. They deserved the luck they got. So I think that, yes, that's alarming for me. And I know Mannion has just come back from an ACL tear and isn't, fully match fit yet. And also one of those players who's sitting on no contract at the end of the season.
One of the like 15 players. Yeah.
There are so many players that are sitting on no contracts or 1-year extension options. And for Man United, that is just I made a list of them, and I think that the two that stand out for me that are no options right now are Batley and Russo. Batley maybe even more so than Russo for me. I love Anna Batley. Yeah, she's unbelievable back.
She's key. She's key not just in the defense, but she's a big part of the attack too. Okay, so what do you think of all of this chatter? United held a press conference on the same day as the presser for the Lionesses, and everybody's saying it's because Skinner doesn't want to answer questions about Alessia Russo since we're talking about contracts and everything. What do you make of that?
Well, if that's the case, then Mark Skinner, why have you taken the job as the manager of Manchester United? Yeah. You can't field tough questions. You can't be a big club. Yeah, that's the bottom line. You have to field those questions from the media, and that's your responsibility.
I think it's a little far out. I don't think that's the reasoning, but I am disappointed in United for putting their press conference on that same day because, we were just talking at the top of this episode about how this game needs coverage. This game deserves coverage, both of these semifinals. And if you're going to put your presser on the same day as the Lionesses presser, it's getting no coverage. So that's on United. Before we come back, the last thing I want to say about United before we come back to Brighton, and I'm sorry, Brighton fans, this is not going to be all about United. We're going to move on. But the heartbreaker that broke Brighton's heart, Rachel Williams. Is she great, or is Mark Skinner just a brilliant manager in knowing how to manage his subs, or both? Because talk about a super sub.
I think that you have to give Skinner credit because he took off Russo. And for me, I was like, why are you taking off Russo? She just scored a banger and you're taking her off.
That's the move that gets you questions at the end of the game if you don't come out with a win.
Exactly. And then he's going to have to field those questions. But I think Rachel Williams has come up with some crucial goals this season. So he trusts her, and he trusts that she's going to be able to come up with a chance and score. And she's proven that to be true, because she's in a pressure situation. We're in the 89th minute of the game, and she's been threaded through by Zellum. It's a great ball by Zellum. Zellum didn't have her best game, but that ball is perfect.
We have such opposing views on Zellum. I was like, Zellum had a great game. She had a great game. She controlled the middle. Loved it.
She gave the ball away a little bit too much for me, but like, I think that this pass is unbelievable, because it splits the two defenders, and it's the right pace, the right weight for Williams to take a nice first touch and then slot it in the corner, which she does really well. She's so composed, and she's come up with those goals for us. And you can see the reaction of the players at the end as well. They're all sort of, super thankful that she's got them out of a bind, because they put themselves in that position. And Rachel Williams deserves all the plaudits for doing what she's doing. Super sub, fantastic. Deep bench players are so important for Man United.
All right, so poor Brighton, because that came just on the heels of Danielle Carter equalizing, right? Brighton went up 1-0. United score again, and just 4 minutes later, Danielle Carter equalized. Now we got 15 minutes left. I'm thinking this is going into extra time. Let me text my friend, tell her I'm going to be late because I got to watch some extra time. And then, I mean, what a absolute heartbreaker for Brighton. I hope that all of the fans, all of the players hold their heads up high, because I just don't. Usually we can talk about a goal and say that was a mental lapse. That came because they were riding the high of their goal and they didn't think to step back, maybe drop somebody back. It was a complete mental lapse that they let that in. I don't actually think that's what happened here. This was just a gorgeous goal from United, who came through. But Brighton, in the bigger picture, this is not the Brighton we've been seeing. And like I said, if they can play like this for the rest of the season, they will escape relegation. But what is so different here? This is the third manager, Melissa Phillips, of this season. Can this be attributed to her? Can this be attributed to it being an FA Cup semifinal? I think it's a little bit of both. What do you think?
I agree. I think it's a little bit of both. I think that Phillips's tactics were sound.
I mean, they had just played United, alike to the Chelsea Villa game. They just faced each other.
Yeah, but Brighton have had some close games this season against top teams. It's not been like a blowout. There have been some high scoring games against them. We'll say that, but I think that there was a lot of unfairness on Twitter as well, where they're talking about, Man United should be embarrassed. They're only beating Brighton 3-2. You can't say that. This is an FA Cup
disrespectful to Brighton.
Totally disrespectful. And I think the players on the pitch for Brighton showed that they've got quality.
Yeah.
The defense was sound. We had to work really hard to break them down. And even you look at Russo's goal, for example. She's had to work really hard to get that shot off, and then she's had to hit it really hard for it to go in. So I think from back to front, well organised, played on the counter attack. Everybody knew their role, and they got hit on the counter attack for Man United, from Man United's third goal, which was really harsh on them. And
what happens when you try to win a game? It just opens up. That's what happens. I think I texted you, it's about to open up, because it was 2-2 and both teams wanted to put that winner away. And sometimes that's just how you leave yourself exposed. To wrap this up nice with a bow, speaking of beating a team 3 times in a row, Amy, this was the third time United beat Brighton this season. So it can be done. Let's go around the world. Over to Mexico. 12 games into the Clausura and a 5-team battle for first place. Monterrey is in first and sits just 1 point ahead of Guadalajara in second and 2 points ahead of America in third. Pachuca and Pumas sit in fourth and fifth, just 5 points out of first place. Pumas and Guadalajara will battle each other on April 28th, while Monterrey and America will face off as well. Matchups that are sure to shake up the league. Over to Spain, Atletico Madrid have seemingly fallen out of the race for third and final Champions League spot with their most recent loss to Barcelona. Barcelona, unbeaten and sitting in first with 75 points, are projected to, of course, be the league winners, but until now, there has been a race for the other two Champions League spots. Real Madrid and Levante are fighting for second place, but both will most likely qualify as Atletico Madrid is 10 points out of third place now. And finally, over to Scotland. Glasgow City sit relatively comfortably in first place with Celtic and Rangers 6 and 7 points behind respectively. Glasgow City and Rangers face off today, Wednesday, so be sure to tune in.
Have you checked out Total Football Analysis yet? TotalFootballAnalysis.com provides researched analysis on loads of football games, including women's football. Want to know why Miedemar scores so many goals? Do you want to explore how City have turned it around this season? Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and sign up to learn more about the beautiful game. We have a special discount for listeners of the Women's Soccer Show. At checkout, type WOSO10 to get a full year for €10. That's €40 off the yearly subscription. Head over to TotalFootballAnalysis.com and type WOSO10 at checkout.
Over to the NWSL. We've got a lot to talk about here. A couple bullet points, and we're going to dive into the Kansas City-Chicago game because that was a scoreline that nobody expected. But first thing first, we got to talk about this stoppage time that's happening in the NWSL. I feel like somebody in the NWSL watched the Men's World Cup and saw the 10 minutes of stoppage time, which I, as a soccer fan, have never seen in my life until this past Men's World Cup. And then it was every game, 10 minutes. And somebody in the NWSL watched that and they were like, that's good TV. Let's do that. I absolutely hate it. I absolutely hate it. It's unprofessional.
It's very unprofessional, and I also hate it, and the players hate it too. You can see that it destroys any momentum. So, 19 minutes at the end of the Gotham game.
Yeah,
I did joke that I was getting some of my minutes back that I'd missed from Paramount Plus, but
maybe that's why they did it.
Why on earth it's taken you that long to make a VAR decision on if that's not a clear-cut handball, then it's not a penalty.
Yeah.
If it's taken you that long, it may not be a clear-cut handball.
Yep.
But you have to make a decision quicker than that.
Yeah.
You have to, because then, you know what? The penalty taker then also is getting in their head. They know the penalty taker already. Midge person knows she's going to take that penalty, and she's already thinking about it. So then you're making the penalty taker wait. You're making the crowd wait. You're making everybody wait, and it's getting frustrating. And 19 minutes of added on time at the end of a game is
absurd.
Completely absurd.
From the Gotham game over to Angel City, news has finally dropped. And I guess when they said that Julie Ertz would make a decision by the end of the week, they really meant the end of the week, because this was 9 p.m. Sunday night. Julie Ertz will be playing for Angel City FC. My reaction, I think exactly, was no surprise there. It fits.
It does. I didn't think she was going to leave the area. Did you?
I think it was the area that's around where she's based. And frankly, I think everybody's given all of these reasons. It's like Angel City has a lot of money, whatever. I actually think that she fits best into that team than anywhere else in the league. I'm trying to place her. I mean, I would love her to see her at Gotham. Don't get me started on that. And of course she's going to help any team, but she's not going back to Chicago. And when you look at Angel City's midfield, that is a big piece that's missing. They have Savannah McCaskill. They have forwards. They have Alyssa Thompson. Let's hold down that middle of the field. And I think she's going to elevate them from a middle of the table, possibly playoff contender, to the top, unless she goes to the World Cup, of course. And then she's not going to be there.
I'm bitterly disappointed that she did not come to Gotham. I did not think she was going to come to Gotham, but if there's a team that's crying out for somebody like Juliet, it's Gotham FC, and I say that as a season ticket holder of Gotham FC.
I think Angel City is too, but I agree that Gotham could utilize her.
Yeah, I think, but Angel City has so many world-class players there. Once Kristen Press comes back, it's going to be it's going to be a game changer for them having Press back in there.
Yeah, but they're all, in the no disrespect to the midfield, because they're doing great, but their world class exists in the front or the back. They need that 6. And hey, a really strong 6 is hard to come by, but I would rank Gotham and Angel City as the 2 that could most benefit from her. Makes sense that she went to Angel City. I don't think Gotham can afford her.
No, because they wasted their money on, I'm not going to get into this, they waste their money on some dead players who they don't need.
I just want everybody to know.
Every season, Gotham. Come on, man.
I told Amy before this, just everybody listening at home to not hold back. So go for it, Amy. This is all your opinions. You stand by them.
I do.
You go for it.
I feel like Gotham has been like the US national team retirement home for the last 3 years. Like, what are we doing? Like, stop bringing in dead players who are like, you're taking off after 50 minutes, 60 minutes, or who are injured or are going to retire at the end of the season. Like, we're not that team. We shouldn't be that team where we just offer them to come and just have a nice time in New York at the end of their career. The fans obviously want to see big time players at Gotham, but I don't want to see a player who's at the end of their career come in just to put their feet up at Gotham.
I mean,
because they're getting paid.
I agree that there's a difference, and you have to walk the line between bringing big names in for marketing and that not being how you form your team, because that's not, at the end of the day, going to sell tickets. A winning team is what's going to sell tickets. I am going to say, though, I do think Kelly O'Hara brings a quality to Gotham that is beyond just her skill on the pitch. Look, Kelly O'Hara is the type of, she's kind of crazy in the best way. Like, she will drive a team forward. I think part of her mentality is why the Spirit got so competitive and got so good. And she'll work her butt off all game if she's healthy. She will push everybody else too. I think she's a fire that was missing in Gotham last year.
All right. Well, I hope that she proves me wrong, because I just feel like I'm disgruntled from the last couple of seasons. With
As you deserve to be.
Right. And, you know, let's not just talk about older players. We've got some people on the national team there who are not really pulling their weight either. And Christy Mewis, like, I don't know what she's done since she came to Gotham. And also she's getting selected for the national team. And on what merit? On what merit? Like, there's no merit for it. I'm sorry, there isn't. And that's just frustrating for me to see that. And as a season ticket holder, I'll continue to voice my opinions because I have a right to it. And I would love somebody of Julie Ertz's class to come in to Gotham. And who wouldn't? And
who wouldn't?
Just going back to this about Julie Ertz, do you think that Julie Ertz is the best 6 in the world?
Oh my God. You're gonna people are gonna send me hate mail. Okay, first I'm gonna answer it. The 3 best 6s in the world are Oberdorf, Walsh, and Julie Ertz. Now, if we're talking about where they are right now or where they are when they're all at their healthiest and at their best, that's a different question. I think where they are right now, I think Kira Walsh is the best 6 in the world. And that's close because I love Oberdorf. But I do think right now, Kira Walsh is the best 6 in the world. Overall, when they're all at their best, it's Julie Ertz. It's Julie Ertz. Nobody can do what she does. I don't think she gets enough credit for what she does offensively because she gets so much defensive credit because she's everywhere. But she can distribute. She can play ball. She pulls strings in the midfield that I think people didn't realize that she was doing on the national team until she was gone. And then you look at it and you realize that Rose Lavelle can pull the strings up at the 10 with the forwards and same with Lindsay Horan, but nobody can quite pull the strings from the back, from that like quarterback position at the 6, quite like Julie Ertz can with the national team. So at their best, yes, Julie Ertz. What about you?
It's a tough call for me. Obviously, I absolutely love Kira Walsh and I rate Oberdorf so highly. I think Oberdorf's going to be the best 6 in the world. I think she'll overtake Walsh.
I agree.
Soon.
In time. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Ertz is the best 6 in the world right now. And even though she hasn't been playing, it just like noticeably different when she came on the pitch. Yeah. Like I was so happy to see her back. And
Amy, my heart was so happy. You would have thought that I had won the lottery or something. Like my heart filled with joy like it hasn't since we won in 2019. I can go on for ages. Yes.
I know. Yes. But like, I was also really upset that she was back too, because then I realized that it's World Cup year and I don't want the US to do well. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, Ertz is back, but that, you know, the quality is there to see, and she changes games. And I'm also thankful that I don't have to watch Lindsay Horan swan around in that position anymore, because she does not feel those shoes at all.
Nobody does.
Player.
That's the thing. And we've said this, we don't have to get into this because we're not talking about the national team, but we've said this a million times on this podcast. It's like, we were trying to fit a square into a round hole. You know, you can't. It's just like, we're going to come onto Chicago. So this is a great segue. It's just like Chicago with Malpure, or the national team with Mel Swanson. You can't replace that. You have to find another way to win games, and you have to find another formation. And they were trying to replace Julie Ertz with somebody who isn't Julie Ertz. And that's unfair to everybody, including the people who he was trying to fit into her slot. A lovely transition into talking about Chicago, because we want to talk about the Chicago Kansas City game. I turned this on because I was watching all of the games that we caught the second half of, and I was like, okay, I want to watch a full game here. I turned this on and did not expect the 4-2 Chicago win that we saw, for many reasons. One, did not expect 6 goals from either of these teams. If you were to show me those lineups and tell me where do these 6 goals come from, I don't know. Number 2, I would have taken Kansas City, and Chicago is continuing to surprise me. So I kind of want to talk about both sides of the ball. I don't necessarily want to talk about the game, but I want to talk about these teams, because Chicago has surprised me in a beautiful way, and Kansas City has surprised me in a just terrible way. And I need to stop picking teams to win the championship, because they always end up in last place.
You're cursing them. Stop it. Stop doing that to them.
Let's talk about Chicago, because, I mean, okay, this is a team. They've lost in the offseason Morgan Gautreau, Katie Johnson, Kalia Watt, Vanessa DiBernardo, who, by the way, was playing against them in a Kansas City uniform, Danielle Colaprico, and now they've lost Mal Swanson. And this is all, this is different because some of those they lost in the offseason, and then they were able to rebuild around. But a lot of what they rebuilt around was a strong back line, Yuki Nagasato, and then Mal Swanson. And now there's no Mal Swanson. And God, remind me, because I want to rave about Casey Kruger and how she deserves a spot on the national team. But let's just talk about Chicago for a second. I mean, what else? I don't even know how to ask this question other than, how are they coming together? How are they so successful? What's going on here?
They've got that strong partnership in the back.
Yep.
Tim Davidson has come back and she's been solid. And you're talking about Casey Kruger, a partner in her, unbelievable. I'm not the listener's biggest fan, and I never will be, but I think she's the US national team goalkeeper for a reason. So you've got that.
It's just because she stopped that penalty kick in 2019. That's okay.
It was a poor penalty, so we'll allow it. I also think that they've got some freshness about them, that they've recruited some really good talent, and they're surprising people with the talent. Looking at Penelope Hocking up front, scored 2 goals.
I'm so glad you mentioned her. I love this signing. First of all, she's I think she's the number 7 pick.
7, yeah.
Yep, forward out of USC. Penelope Hocking. First goal in a Chicago Red Stars uniform. Second goal in a Chicago Red Stars uniform. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about how nobody can replace Mal Swanson, but the biggest question when you lose somebody like that is, where do our goals come from? And then here comes Penelope Hocking as a rookie, shocking everybody. I absolutely love to see it. And I think you're completely right. You look at their midfield, and they lost a lot, but they gained a lot too. They got Ricario, Bianca St. George's. I mean, she's just, when you talk about a solid NWSL player, that's who she is. And Yuki Nagasato, I'll throw my hands up and say, I was wrong. I didn't think that she could be a playmaker. I thought she was a puzzle piece, and she's proven me wrong.
Bianca St. George's is like the backbone of that team in terms of her, the way she puts everything into a game. She's one of those players you don't want to play against. You just don't, because she's absolutely solid, and she does have physical. She does have a spark about her, and you take that spark away from her, and she's half the player she is. So you need somebody like that in your team, and she brings that. And we'll go back to hockey, and then the finish for the 4th goal is unreal. as a young player, you're 23 years old, you've just been drafted, and you're that calm and composed to put that past France, a world-class goalkeeper.
Yep.
She scored 54 goals at USC.
That's
54.
unbelievable.
She transferred in her last year to Penn State and scored 7 goals there. So she's a natural finisher. She's going to score goals. She's young, so we can't expect her to. She's not replacing Mal Swanson. No one's going to do that. But she's going to be her own player and in her own right. And it looks like they're playing the system to fit the players, and that's what we just talked about, right?
Yep.
Playing a system that fits the personnel you have, and not trying to put square pegs in round holes. And that's what Chicago has done and been successful at getting. They were spanking them. They were spanking Casey. It wasn't even close.
No,
it wasn't even close.
Absolutely, like controlling the game too, in a way that honestly Kansas City was able to do quite a bit last year, and a lot of what they started to be known for was that ability. But I mean, I just need to come back to this back line for Chicago, because Casey Kruger was out for a while and she has come back, and I don't even think I can say she didn't miss a step. She is in a form like I don't think I've ever seen her. She stood out on the U.S. women's national team in the same way that Julie Ertz stood out. She came in and changed the game with how dynamic she's able to play. She's a lockdown defender, and the way she's able to contribute to the offense as well. You have to have a strong back line if you're going to play a back three like Chicago, and they do. And Casey Kruger is a massive part of that. You can't just hang that on Tierna Davidson in the middle. Casey Kruger is such a big piece of this team, offensively and defensively. And I sincerely hope to see her on the U.S. women's national team roster this summer.
I don't see why she wouldn't be. I mean, what would the rationale be for not having her around? She can play right back. Why wouldn't you at least include her in that conversation? It's not like that you have so many centre backs that you're like, you can pick and choose who you leave at home. And I think that Casey Kruger warrants, between Davidson and Kruger, that may be the pick of who goes as well to the World Cup. Who knows?
I think it'll come down to Sonnet or Kruger. I mean, you've got Dunn. Don't get me started. Dunn, Fox, Sonnet, Kruger, O'Hara, all now we're just talking just outside backs. You can't bring 5 outside backs. So what does it come down to? But I personally think Kruger needs to go.
I don't think that you need to take Crystal Dunn as a right or left back. I mean, look at Daly.
I mean, we could talk about this for ages.
But look at Daly though. Okay, Serena Weigman has finally been like, okay, she's a striker. Let me select her as a striker. When is Vlatko going to actually realise that Crystal Dunn is not a defender and to take her as her natural position? She scored this weekend. I'm
glad we're coming on to this, because I said this on one of our Patreon episodes, and somebody was like, are you out of your mind? Have you lost your mind? The moment Mal Swanson went down was the moment Vlatko Andonovski had a window to say, who is our next best forward? Maybe could it be this person who's been playing out of position because she's so fantastic that she can start in a starting 11 on one of the best teams in the world out of position, has an NWSL MVP, an NWSL golden boot under her belt. She can score. Why not use that opportunity to see what happens when Crystal Dunn goes up top? Because we now have the depth in the outside back to do that. And that's not what happened. And that's no disrespect to Alyssa Thompson. It was a blast to watch her play, but I couldn't quite understand, aside from just needing her at the back, why that didn't happen. But I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Let's talk about Kansas City Current. I mean, they were in the final last year. The moves that they made in the offseason, I was like foaming at the mouth, just like drooling over this team on paper. And they have had an absolutely terrible start to the season. And a lot of that can be attributed to injuries, missing Loera, Kaiser's gone, Hamilton's gone, Lavoguez is gone, Morgan Gautreau, who they signed over the summer, is not there. Sam Mewis, but can you really even put that? I mean, she's never even played a minute in Kansas City uniform. So
how good would she be if she was playing?
Totally. Totally. I want to put that out there and say, like, I know that's where we're starting from. Like, that has to be talked about, that this is part of their problem, but I don't think it's their whole problem. Lola Bonsa hasn't been herself. I mean, I actually, you know what? I'm missing, I think, the most important piece. Desiree Scott is out And in the final last year, during a lot of the media day, most, if not all of the Kansas City players who I talked about Desiree Scott as the heart and soul of that team. So to miss her, and to miss her specifically in the middle of the field, a key place to have the heart and soul of your team, I think you can point to all of the names, and it's no disrespect to them, but I think her missing hurts this team more than anything.
I agree. I think you need that player in the midfield, right? That's where games are won and lost, is in the middle of the park. And without somebody who's the backbone of your team, who's getting amongst it, breaking play up, distributes the ball well, brings high energy, communication, all of those things in the middle of the pitch are crucial. So without that, you lose a lot of cohesiveness amongst the group. And when you're asking a bunch of players who are not regular starters, who haven't played together, to come together, you need somebody who's going to bring them together, right? And if you don't have that, that's a problem.
Yep.
And so you're spot on about Desiree Scott. I think Loera was a big miss, huge for them.
Yeah.
Been so solid.
Yeah.
And you talk about Labonta, she
hasn't been herself.
Anonymous in the game. I didn't see anything from her. No spark, no creativity. The only person who brought something was Davinia, and you're not surprised by that because it's Davinia. So she must be thinking, what have I done here? And sort of come into KC with the promise. They had they did well last season. So
promising. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head that there's a lot of disjointedness. I mean, even DiBernardo, she just got her first minutes in a Kansas City uniform. She came in late into the season, and those were her first minutes back. So it's a lot of disjointedness. Michelle Cooper is getting a lot of minutes. She's a rookie. She maybe hasn't gelled with the team all that much. It's a lot of disjointedness. But look, I love Matt Potter, but I don't think he necessarily is handling this in the best way either. I think that's a big piece of it, because, and I'm biased here because I'll rather play with 10 players than play in a back five. I hate a back five. I don't get it. I don't think there's any benefit to it. All it does is invite pressure and invite you defending for 90 minutes straight. And there's no benefit to it whatsoever. And they're coming out in a back five. Why, if you are Matt Potter, are you coming out in a back five against Chicago, who just lost Mal Swanson?
Well, it clearly didn't work, did it? So I think you have to question it, because you conceded 4 goals. So is your back five working? And when you do play a back five, you lose the middle of the park. Like you said, you're going to get overrun. And if you're, again, I don't want to criticize Matt Potter too much either, because I think he's done an outstanding job at KC. So he's trying to make the pieces of the puzzle fit best as he can with all of the injuries. I mean, if you took any team in the league and decimated them with that many injuries, it's going to be tough. So he's trying to make it work and make the pieces fit. And I think that there's not enough senior leadership there to get them going and make it work at the moment on the pitch. There's not enough. And like you said, without Scott, Labonta looks a shadow of the person that she was last season. Hopefully she'll come into her own. Davinia is going to give you creativity. She's not going to give you much defensively. So maybe that's why he was thinking, like, let's go with the 5 and let them have freedom up front free. It didn't work. It was disjointed between the lines. There was a connection between the back line moving forward through the middle and to the strikers. And the one goal that looked good was Davinia's finish, which was a nicely worked goal. Yeah. But I don't think Matt will take much positives from that game, to be honest.
I don't think there are many. Some positives for Chicago. I mean, it's hard to play that first game without the star Mal Swanson, and they took the win. They're headed to Seattle. So nice for them to take a win under their belt before they face OL Reign, who looks just like outstanding. Kansas City's headed to Orlando, and game I'm really excited for is I don't know what they decided to call it. I think they called it something stupid like El
Trafico.
Something El Trafico. That would be better than whatever they landed on. Angel City, San Diego. We may see Julie Ertz for a few minutes. That would be fantastic. But I mean, she's going to get minutes. So we're going to have to see her if she wants to be on the national team. So games I'm most excited for. Amy, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun. I think we could have talked for another couple of hours on these topics. But yeah, I love discussing women's football. So thank you for having me.
That was a blast. We'll have you back soon. It's fun to record what we do anyways. All right.
Love it. I love it.
For Amy, I've been Sarah. This is the Women's Soccer Show. Thanks, everybody.
This podcast was edited by Monkey Hill Media. Visit monkeyhillmedia.com for more information.